So the outcome was inevitable. We're on YouTube. I mean, now it's pretty commonplace to see people out and about recording, vlogging, trying to create cinematic shots, or recording reels or TikToks or shorts or whatever it may be. And obviously there's no question about the possible outcome, how YouTube can be a lucrative platform, a great way to earn money, additional money, or be your primary source of income, an addition, supplement to your business, or even land you bigger opportunities on TV or in movies. And there's actually one YouTuber, I don't remember her name, but my wife and my daughter would watch her, and she ended up being she stopped making YouTube videos. She disappeared for a little bit. Then she ended up in movies, and they recognized her voice as one of the Transformers. I think it was Transformer Beast or something. I think there's way too many Transformer movies now. But with so many people, so many YouTubers, so many creators now on the platform, originality, it takes a lot more to be original. It's weird. It's almost like it takes a whole lot less to be original, because so many people are doing so much more now. The less you do, the more original it seems. It's like the inverse opposite of the Mr. Beast syndrome, basically. As I don't plan on really editing this video and putting a lot of cuts and captions and special effects and B-roll into it, but I am also not entirely original myself, as I talk to you guys walking down the street here in Florida and doing a little bit of a walk and talk, which this Florida walk and talk is becoming a popular trend amongst those in the real estate niche. But I think even if you think back further, it probably started on the opposite coast with who I saw probably doing it early on, Dan and I allegedly. But be that as it may, it's a great day. It's a beautiful day here in Florida, and the weather has really changed for the better. And yeah, it lends to a great environment. Get the juices flowing, the thought process going, and it's also simplified from this GoPro Hero 11 Black with my media mod on it, which, you know, condenses my recording. It's got built-in stabilization, so hopefully the video quality comes out good for you guys. The mic is already there. Granted, I do like the sound quality on my DJI wireless mic better. I will not be upgrading to the DJI 2 wireless mic 2, and it allows us the opportunity to create this continuously and constantly changing background behind us that can offer a lot in regard to the success or possible performance of the video in regard to reach, retention, viewer duration, and it's an editing tool, or at least it used to be. The Mr. Beastification was really more of retention editing, where a constant change created a higher likelihood of the audience not clicking out of the video. Therefore, if the background continuously changes, then there's a chance that the viewer would stick around longer because they want to see what's going to happen, or what is happening, or what's going to happen next. But things have changed, and again, the originality behind that has kind of subsided because it's been a little bit overdone. And I think now what's more important, or most important, is what's actually being shared in the video, more so than what distractions exist in the video. However, the end result may not necessarily produce millions of views. Whereas I think that today, March 2024, and kind of trying to track and mark the changes and progressions and evolution of the algorithm, is that today it's more about connecting with the specific audience that the content is intended for, rather than trying to make every video for everybody. Therefore, if the audience size interested in this conversation is an audience size of 10,000 and you get 10,000 views, well, you've succeeded. And I don't think a lot of people talk about this in this capacity, but this video is not for everyone. This video is for those interested in learning more and talking more and discussing more about YouTube strategies, what's working, how to be more effective, and at the end of the day, how to make more money. Because getting a lot of views won't necessarily equate to making a lot of money, especially if the wrong people are watching, or not the right people aren't seeing the video. So today I was scrolling through YouTube and I was actually looking to be inspired. And it's funny because I almost ignored this inspiration, and then I thought about it. I said, you know what, let me share this with you guys. And I'm not sharing it from a perspective of jealousy or hatred or anything like that. I'm purely sharing it with you from a strategy and a trend that I'm noticing and I'm seeing on YouTube, and I wanted to share with you guys. Similar to the last video, or the video before the last video, about how YouTube is changing you. In essence, YouTube is changing YouTubers and content creators and uploaders to be different, to try and connect and reach in a way that they think is the right way. And I think that that way is typically linked and tied to more views, more subscribers. And to each their own, but me personally, I really don't too much worry about views or subscribers, because at the end of the day, I've been down that road before, and I'm really more so interested in connecting. And it's actually why I have so many channels now, is because not one channel can't be everything to everybody. Now you yourself, yeah, you can be, you can be multifaceted, but unfortunately YouTube will not allow one channel to be everything to everybody, because YouTube's algorithm is not that sophisticated. It can't do it, or they won't do it. I'm not really sure which one it is. So I have specific channels now for specific reasons and specific conversations and specific topics for the specific connection on who I am trying to reach. The sub count also will fluctuate depending, but you guys know as well as I do that, you know, subscriber counts in regard to long form in comparison to short form, in comparison to live stream, they're completely different. And I would much rather, personally, I would much rather have an audience and a subscriber base built on long form content, which is the content that I create, interested in the conversations and the discussions that we have than a big subscriber number that wants to see shorts that I don't make, or I'm not really good at making, or I don't really want to make, or whatever. Because if you build a subscriber base off of shorts and then you upload long form content, odds are they're not going to be interested in it. But either way, we're getting a little bit off topic here. We're getting a little off track. But this is kind of how YouTube works. It's parts of a whole, and you really got to discuss it all for it to make sense. But YouTube is changing you, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or don't, whether you agree with it or whatever. YouTube is changing you as a creator, changing you as a viewer, consumer, producer, customer, shopper, whatever. YouTube is changing you. And again, this is not to critique. This is not to, you know, criticize or anything like that. This is purely observational. And there's channels that I see, or channels that I have watched, or channels that I recognize, and things that I just can't unsee. And so today, as I was scrolling through YouTube, I noticed two things. One, I noticed Richard Fain. And what I'm about to say has nothing to do with Richard Fain, but I do want to clarify and explain the difference. I have an opinion about YouTube and the channels on YouTube, and I feel as though YouTube has three different types of channels. One is a YouTuber. So I think that I would fall into the category of a YouTuber, I think. Then another category is content creator. I think I would fall into the category of content creator too. I think I'm a mix between the two. And then the third is an uploader. So an uploader is basically like, you know, there's people that they have things and videos that they found or collected, or just happen to pull their phone out and press record, and then they upload it, right? You know, there's even these channels like news channels, and they're comprised of thousands, tens of thousands of videos, some of which under 20 seconds. And they literally just upload. Maybe it's a broadcast from a larger news network like C-SPAN or something, or maybe it's just their own recording of a press conference of some sort, and they just upload it. I don't consider that to be a creation of content. I don't consider them to be YouTubers. They just kind of upload videos. Now, a content creator, well, you know, there's some really, really talented folks out there that go to great lengths to create amazing content. And these include, in my opinion, folks like Natalie Lynn and Karen Nate and Spam Subi and Christian Schaefer, and there's a few out there. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I think you guys kind of get the point. Mr. Beast obviously is a content creator. Who else is out there? I mean, Heinz is a content creator in my opinion. So there's content creators, okay? And then there's YouTubers. And YouTubers are like, they're kind of like, you know, I feel like I'm a mix of a YouTuber and a content creator, because I do try to incorporate my own thoughts and opinions and creativity in what I make and what I create and what I share. But then a YouTuber is also kind of like an uploader, and they take advantage of an opportunity to press record and share with the world, but not necessarily from such a creative standpoint, or building out this story, or setting up a shot or a scene, or doing a lot of editing or framing, or any of that stuff. And YouTubers, I would say, like, YouTubers are more laid back, you know, more nonchalant probably. So if I had to say a YouTuber, you know, let's just say Nikki Delventhal would fall into the category of a YouTuber. But you know, she's great in her right, you know. Another YouTuber, which I kind of almost want to put Kara and Nate into that category, but Nate and Kara, they go through great lengths to really produce some cool stuff. So there's a lot of creation in that. YouTuber, you know, maybe Richard Fain would fall into the category. He'd be 70-30 YouTuber content creator because of the content that he decides to discuss on his channel. YouTuber, oh man, Mike, maybe? I'm torn on this one. I think he's like 50-50. YouTuber, I tell you what, the folks who make beach walks, walking videos. Well, not all walking videos, but I think the beach walks fall into the category of YouTuber because they know what they're doing and why they're doing it and the audience that they're trying to attract. Now, for instance, that same audience that would be attracted may be an audience that would be attracted to a channel like SJXOXO. But I don't consider SJXOXO to be a YouTuber. I would consider her to be more of a content creator because she really does try to put in a lot of effort into her work. But that's just my basic explanation of how I view YouTubers, uploaders, and content creators. And again, I'm not trying to dog anybody for what they do. The platform is here. They offer this opportunity for everybody. But I do feel like uploaders kind of take advantage of the situation, and uploaders will copy. For instance, I would have to lump in the category of uploaders of reaction channels, but reaction channels that don't actually react. They just literally steal other people's content and look at it. So they would fall into the category of uploaders because they're just uploading. They're not really adding any considerable change or creating a narrative of any real value to what they're doing. And they're literally taking what has worked for someone else and stealing it, copying it, repurposing it. But that's kind of why we're having this talk today, is because that's what I noticed. When I saw Richard Fain's thumbnail, I noticed that he apparently, allegedly, kind of copied somebody else's thumbnail. And I can't unsee it. Now granted, he did make an impactful change to it, but for the most part, the idea behind it, I think, was to become more recognizable by that particular channel's audience, to want to click the video because it's familiar, but it's intriguing. But interestingly enough, the audience from which that thumbnail was borrowed or repurposed from, in my opinion right now, has subsided and isn't necessarily getting a huge push and boost from YouTube in regard to impressions and ultimately views. So I guess the question is if you're going to reuse somebody else's thumbnail, does it make more sense to reuse somebody's thumbnail that is getting viral views? But also, do you think it's okay? Do you think it's okay to reuse somebody else's thumbnail in this way? Now granted, I can technically be guilty, as I reused or used a portion of the comment section with Brett Cooper for one of my videos the other day. And the reason for that was because that was the video that inspired me and was part of the discussion and dialogue of the conversation. So I guess there's a gray area here. I don't really know. You know, there's context here. There's got to be meaningful context in the reasoning behind why. But YouTube has kind of forced our hand and has eliminated the ability to be authentic and original, and almost promotes and glorifies and highlights this practice. And so basically they're even telling us, without telling us, that thumbnails are where it's at. YouTube's rolling out the ABC thumbnail test and compare feature, basically letting everybody know that, hey, your thumbnail is going to be the main reason why your video gets seen. But notice I said main, not the only reason. I just recently ran a test of my own where I reused the same thumbnail, in essence, 4 times in a row. And they all produced similar results. But interestingly enough, the analytics on the back end were different, which means that YouTube sent the videos to the audience that it was intended for, regardless of the thumbnail. But again, what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it to get as many views as possible? Or is it to reach an audience that would resonate and connect with the content and the conversation, if there is any? Because we've seen plenty of videos that are complete and utter wastes of time with no value to be delivered or received. Besides, perhaps maybe just that, time wasters. But with that being said, value will also depend on who's receiving it. And not everyone will receive the same value, regardless of how much effort you put in to deliver that value. I noticed that just the other day. I can't hold anybody at fault there. I have to continue to try and do what I'm trying to do and let the chips fall where they may. I never know where YouTube's going to send my videos, and therefore I have no control after I hit publish. However, this idea, this strategy of borrowing thumbnails and reusing other people's thumbnails, well, it also seems to be a reoccurring theme here. But you're allowed to do what you want to do and run your channel the way you want to run your channel, so that's on you. But I can tell you this from actual experience, is that it works. It does. I've done it. I do it. I use it. It's part of one of the strategies that I employ with some of the clients that I work with. And it's for a specific reason. Everybody has probably heard that when you're going to start a YouTube channel, well, you should probably do your homework, do a little bit of research, and see who your target audience is and whose channels they're watching. And then what are they doing that you can do, potentially do, again, theoretically do better to get your piece of the pie. But some folks can be inspired and can then create models, while others can be motivated and go the lazy route or press the easy button and just copy and rip off. That's your call, that's your choice, and you'll also have to deal with the consequences of that, whether it be from the audience, from the algorithm, from the original creator, which right now, I don't know. We could probably trace thumbnails back through so many different channels to say, nope, that's mine. Nope, that's mine. Nope, that's mine. Because we're all being inspired. We're all taking a little piece from everybody, really, if you think about it. Unless it's just your pretty face. Unless you have a twin. I mean, it's kind of, you know, you're right to that one. But either way, if you guys are interested in learning more about this and quite possibly taking advantage of these opportunities and these strategies that are proven to work to help boost your channel, to help get more views, to help get started, get your channel growing and going, then by all means, feel free, reach out, hit me up. I've got links down below in the description. I've got a Patreon set up, and I'm building out courses and additional information for you guys, as well as I'm going to be putting together a mastermind that is going to be a collective think tank of a variety of other content creators and YouTubers and uploaders, because we can learn from everybody. That gives you an opportunity, it gives you a chance to be present, a seat at the table, to engage in these conversations and hear about these strategies and these tips and best practices and what's working, and again, accomplishing goals. My goal is to connect with YouTubers, content creators, uploaders, influencers, folks who want to use this platform to make money, folks who want to use this platform to connect to an audience, to build a business, to expand their reach, to engage in marketing and advertising the best way possible, to capitalize on sponsorship opportunities and brand deals and affiliate marketing and the whole nine. That's my goal. So I'm putting it out there for you guys, and hopefully that's who ends up watching this video for the most part. And if that is the case, then feel free, come on over and join us, because I think that YouTube, I'm not like a huge fan of like full courses, okay? Courses have their purpose. Like a basic course on how to get started, that's one thing. But a course on how to get more views, well, I don't think that exists. I think if you want to know how to get more views, or in essence, connect and convert, for instance, one of my clients is in real estate. And honestly, the amount of views on their videos don't matter. What matters the most is that their videos reach the intended and target audience that will either buy, sell, or invest, or network and do business with from another real estate professional's perspective. That is far more valuable than YouTube. Even Charlie Chang, if you've seen Charlie Chang on Starter Story, he'll tell you 25% of his revenue comes from YouTube. 70 or 50% comes from affiliates and sponsors, and then the other 25% comes from something else. But technically 100% comes from YouTube, because YouTube is the starting point. YouTube is the epicenter. YouTube is the gateway, basically. So depending on what your goal is, I think, much like business in general, think of it as any professional sport, or any sport for that matter. There's a reason why there are coaches and assistant coaches and directors and analysts, because the game is constantly evolving. Every second, every play, every audible, every change, every call, every whistle, everything changes the game. Business is the same way. Seasonal trends, weather, traffic patterns, global impacts, the whole nine, okay? Political influence, it's no different. And YouTube is the same way, in my opinion. So what I try to do with my clients is continuously engage in the dialogue of their content and their strategy and their audience and their effectiveness, because it needs to be adjusted. It needs to be tweaked. It would be, for instance, like driving down the road in a really nice E92 M3 with the V8. I miss that car. But it'd be like driving down the road, perfectly straight road. Just got your car back, got fresh tires, got a new alignment. But you know what? You got to keep your hand on the wheel. You're going to need little micro adjustments to stay on track. It's just the way it is. And YouTube's no different. When you get started, you're kind of all over the place. But that's why we need to have these talks and chats and discussions and work towards getting on that straight and narrow path. Because then once you get there, it's just minor tweaks and minor adjustments. So that's pretty much how it goes down for me, what it boils down to, really. In regard to Richard Fain, I always wonder, like, I'm always intrigued and kind of curious, like, why? What is your goal? What are you really trying to accomplish here? Now, granted, his subscriber count has gone through the roof. His views, kind of questionable. His effectiveness, there's no way I could ever know without talking to him. But when I see these changes, I'm just intrigued. I'm just intrigued. But I'm also the type of person who would more so prefer to go at it my own way. But I also know and understand that there are limitations set by the platform and the algorithm and the audience, that if you want to execute on that shotgun blast and vanity metric strategy, then there's certain things you must do. However, if you want to fly under the radar, you want to be somewhat of a SEAL team sniper, where you go in, you get out, no one even knows you're there, but you're extremely effective, well, I can do that too. And in fact, I prefer it. And the reason why, it's kind of strange, it's kind of odd, it's ironic, is that when you make that big blast, when you make that big bang, when you kick in that door, when all eyes are on you and you're drawing all that attention, you know what it does? It reduces, it limits your effectiveness. Because now you, in essence, have become a target. Not necessarily a target of, you know, nefarious reasons, although that could possibly be the case, as YouTube is engaging in more hate watching now than ever. But you also become a target and will ultimately become a victim of people stealing your ideas and copying your strategy and ultimately stealing your results and your audience and your reach, thus making it even harder for you to be effective. If your goal is to just make big numbers and achieve vanity metrics. But, you know, I don't know what's in this trailer, but whatever's in this trailer, whatever business that's for, they probably have a specific client in mind. And there's no sense in marketing and blasting to an audience that wouldn't be a potential customer or client of that company or that business. Especially if we're gonna start talking about pay-per-click and cost per acquisition. And this comes into play too from a creator standpoint, because some creators out there have teams. They're hiring people to do their script writing. They're hiring people to do their thumbnails and their editing. They have a payroll associated, they have a cost. And therefore, every video needs to be as profitable and, in essence, as effective as possible. Otherwise, you're wasting money. You're wasting money. Efficiency is key. Profit is key. That's what we strive for. That's what we aim for. Hey guys, I appreciate you watching. If you made it this far, give this video a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.